Today we're learning how to make black pepper beef. Tender and succulent beef strips paired with a spicy black pepper sauce. I'm sharing my secrets on how you can make this popular Chinese stir-fried dish at home. Also known as Hei Jiao Niu Rou, which simply means black pepper beef, it's important to get both the elements right. We'll be covering how to make our very own homemade black pepper sauce, how to slice and marinate your beef for optimal tenderness, and of course how we can bring this whole dish together. We'll also be tasting this dish together, so make sure you stay to the end. Buckle up, you're in for a ride. Now, the soul of any Hei Jiao Niu Rou is definitely the black pepper sauce. Now, with the use of ingredients such as onions, garlic, and my secret ingredient, soooo paste, which is a fermented bean paste, I guarantee that this homemade black pepper sauce will have more flavor, complexity, and body than any other store-bought variety. This recipe I'm going to share gives you about 5 portions worth of sauce, so it's really convenient once you make it. Let's start by heating a pan over medium heat and adding 30 grams or about 1 ounce worth of black peppercorns. Make sure you move the peppercorns around in the pan to prevent it from burning. Toasting the black peppercorns helps to intensify its flavors by bringing out the aromatic oils. So let your nose be your guide. Once you smell that the black peppercorns are developing a stronger aroma, take the pan off the heat and transfer the toasted peppercorns into a mortar. Now we're gonna pound and grind the toasted peppercorns until we get a nice coarse powder like this. It should feel kind of like dry sand, and there should not be any large chunks of black peppercorn left. Once done, set your black pepper aside. Now add 3 to 4 tablespoons of cold vegetable oil to a hot wok, followed by 8 cloves worth of minced garlic, 1 medium-sized onion finely minced, and about 5 grams of minced ginger. Now give it a good fry for about 2 to 3 minutes, and we're gonna add our toasted black peppercorns. After another minute of frying, add 1 teaspoon of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of MSG, 2 tablespoons of soooo paste, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, half a tablespoon of dark soy sauce, half a tablespoon of light soya sauce, and 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine. Give everything a good mix and allow it to develop its flavors for about 1 to 2 minutes. When you have a nice dry sauce like this, add 3/4 cups of chicken stock. Allow the sauce to come to a boil, and once it reduces to a nice thick sauce like this, add another 3/4 cups worth of chicken stock. But this time, once it comes to a boil, turn off the heat. Now grab a mason jar and fill it all the way up with your homemade black pepper sauce. Now store it in the fridge and whip it out whenever you want to cook a black pepper dish. Now a quick word on what cuts of beef we can use. I personally prefer to use flank steak, which is a cheap and lean cut of meat, but you can also use other cuts such as sirloin or round. So here I have about half a pound worth of flank steak, which I'm going to blot dry with my paper towels to remove any excess moisture. Because muscle fibers tend to bunch up together like a rope, and they tend to run parallel with each other. So when slicing our meat, it's important to cut through these muscle fibers so that each piece is easier to chew and more tender. So here's a front and side view of the flank steak. Look for how the muscle fibers are arranged and slice perpendicularly across them. This is known as cutting against the grain. So here I like to slice my meat about 1/8 of an inch or as thinly as I can, and then I'm going to put it into the marinade that we're going to prepare. But first, let's take some time to talk about sodium bicarbonate as a tenderizing agent. While it is used in many online recipes and in restaurants, I personally prefer to avoid it because I feel it gives the meat a very weird and unnatural texture, probably caused by the chemical reaction that sodium bicarbonate has on meat. So I decided to conduct an experiment. Here I have 4 pieces from the same steak. As you can see, they have about the same size and color. So after separating the pieces of meat into 2 bowls, I added 1/8 of a teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate and 1 teaspoon of Shaoxing rice wine into one bowl, and only 1 teaspoon of Shaoxing rice wine into the other bowl as a control. After 30 minutes, you can see a noticeable difference between the 2 bowls of meat. So the pieces that have been treated with the sodium bicarbonate has this weird light pink hue, while the pieces that did not still look like how they looked like 30 minutes ago. And after I gave the pieces of meat a quick fry in the pan, I was surprised to find out that the pieces of meat that were treated with sodium bicarbonate seemed to be a bit larger and thicker than the ones that were not. So the difference in color and size for the pieces of meat that have been treated with sodium bicarbonate suggests to me that on some level sodium bicarbonate has this chemical effect on the meat that allows it to artificially become more tender, and I personally feel that this is not the best texture that you can get. I prefer to marinate my meat with a combination of egg whites, cornstarch, and Shaoxing rice wine, and this is part of the process known as velveting the meat. And this can also help the meat to get a tender and silky smooth texture. To prepare the marinade, let's separate 1 egg white from its yolk. Because we have about half a pound of meat, we're going to need 1 tablespoon of egg whites. Here's a tip. To make it easier to scoop out the egg whites, use a pair of chopsticks or a fork and whisk it up to make it easier for you to scoop it out. So to 1 tablespoon of egg whites, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and 2 teaspoons of Shaoxing rice wine. The mixture of these 3 ingredients will allow the meat to have a tender, silky and smooth texture. Now as for seasoning, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now give everything a good mix and add your sliced beef. Toss your beef around the bowl to make sure that every single piece is evenly coated with the sauce. Now give the sauce at least 30 minutes to work its magic. In the meantime, let's prepare our vegetables. I'm going to use about half an onion and half a red and green capsicum. Now give everything a rough chop and just try to ensure that each piece of vegetable is of the same size. And once you're ready, to a hot wok, we're going to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of cold vegetable oil. Now just as your oil is about to get smoking hot, we're going to add the beef to the wok and we're going to give it a very quick stir fry, about 30 to 45 seconds. What we're doing here is to help develop a silky smooth coating over the beef. And once done, take the beef out of the wok. We're going to put it back into the wok later, so we want to make sure that we don't overcook it. Now give your wok a quick wash and heat it up. And once it's hot, add about 3 tablespoons of cold vegetable oil. To this, we'll add about 3 to 4 cloves of minced garlic. We're going to allow it to fry nicely in the wok, and once it's nicely brown like this, we'll add our chopped vegetables and we'll give it a stir fry for about 30 seconds to a minute. Next, it's time for us to reintroduce the beef back into the wok, followed by 4 to 5 tablespoons of the black pepper sauce we prepared earlier. Now give everything a good toss and then add 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine and 1 tablespoon of your cornstarch slurry. Once the sauce has thickened, turn off the heat and serve. There you have it, black pepper beef, done! Now thanks to the egg white, Shaoxing rice wine and cornstarch mixture, you can see that the beef has adopted a beautiful shiny sheen. There's also a very even coating of the black pepper sauce on the beef and the vegetables. And now for a taste test. Smell-wise, my nose is immediately greeted by the beautiful aromas of black pepper, along with aromatics such as garlic, onion. Ooh, it smells amazing. Well, here goes! The beef is juicy, tender and succulent, and the black pepper sauce, it hits every note. The depth of flavour from the soooo paste we used earlier provides a sweet and salty combo that's elevated by the aromatics that we added earlier. In terms of the spice level, it's just right for me. Of course, if you like it spicier, you can always up the amount of black pepper used in the recipe. As for the capsicums, they're crunchy and sweet, and they really help to balance the whole dish out. Now because we paid attention to slice against the grain, look how tender and easy it is to bite off this piece of beef. That's all from me today. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and to check out my other videos. This is Ted Teo, signing off.